Hello students, we are having a lesson of CSC 221 and today we'll talk about breadth first search algorithm. We'll learn a graph traversal technique, so let's start with what we mean by traversal. Traversal means visiting all the nodes of a graph. Breadth first search traversal or breadth first search is a recursive algorithm for searching all the vertices of a graph or tree data structure. Let's think you are designing a Google Map application. You have multiple cities. Cities are connected through roads and each road has a toll booth in it. Your user wants to know from his location to certain city how many toll booths he needs to pay. In order to provide him with a solution, you need to design an algorithm. Have a look at this figure. We want to go to Teknaf from Tetulia. So we need to find a path to reach there. Our goal is to find how many toll booths we need to pay. So how do we approach it? Easiest way is to start from your source Teknaf and go to all connected city to it. Then starting from those city and visit all of them connected to it. As soon as we reach to our destination, we need to find out how many layers or hops we needed. Let's look at a simulation to understand it better. As Tetulia is our source, we have colored it differently and we are starting from there. Then we move to Bogra and Rajshahi and label them as 1. Then Bogra has connected Tangail, so we label it 2. Then we can move on to Dhaka and Chittagong and label it 3. Then we move on to Coxbazar and Teknaf and label it 4. We could not go from Dhaka to Chittagong or Chittagong to Dhaka because both of them are already labeled. It was same in case of Coxbazar and Teknaf. So as soon as we hopped into Teknaf, we got the value 4. So this is the answer for our problem. That means from going to Tetulia to Teknaf, we need 4 toll booths to be paid. Now let's talk about coding BFS. Now we got the idea of what's happening, but we need to code it. For that, let's see this pseudocode to understand how we can do this using Q. We'll then connect it with a graph which looks similar to the simulation. We saw it, but we will start from a different source for that graph. So we start from source S. Our first task is to initialize. So we have a queue or a level of vertex db, and so ds is 0 as this is the source. We initialize q with inserting our source vertex s, and we initialize all other vertices with infinity as we don't know the value. We then start a while loop with condition q not empty. As we have s in our queue, it is not empty, so we enter this loop. Then we dequeue the first element, which was u in our case. For our case, u was s because s was our source. And then we start a for loop. And we look for all the adjacent nodes to that specific element, which was our s. So we found out R and W was our adjacent nodes. So we go there and replace their value infinity with the value 1. If the adjacent vertices have dv equal to infinity, it means we did not visit there. So we remove the infinity and replace with the discovery level by adding 1 to previous level, which is dv equal to du plus 1. So at last we have done our work and then we entered them for our queue. So R and W is entered in our queue. As you can see, we replaced dr and dw with 1. After that we looked for adjacent vertices of R as it is first element of our queue. So we dequeue R in this case and we found dv equal to 2. And then we work with W. So from W we go to T and X. So we enqueue them we dequeue W from our Q and we replace the value of T and X with 2. So in our queue, we now have B, T and X. So that means we'll start working with B. But B is such a node which doesn't have any other connected components. So we can just simply dequeue it. T has adjacent X and U, but we won't replace the value of X as it is already containing a value. We have traversed U now and we have X on our queue. Similarly, we discovered Y and our queue has U and Y. For next step, we won't find any adjacent vertices to them, thus we dequeue them. In the end, our queue is empty and we are out of the while loop. So the code ends. Now let's talk about optimizing our approach. Can we have a better approach to do BFS algorithm? We can have a better approach for BFS. Let's think them in terms of color. We were having an infinity value which is hard to understand. If we modify our approach, it would be easier. To do that, we can think we have three colors: white, gray and black. Each node has a property called color. So if the color of the node is white, it means we haven't discovered it yet. We also did not enqueue it. If it is colored gray, it means we have already discovered it, but we are not done visiting its adjacent vertices, so it is still on the queue. Black means we have finished visiting it, so and also discovered all adjacent vertices of it, so it can also be dequeued. So before going to or moving to algorithm, let's see what the meaning of the values. Color V, the color of each vertex is visited. White means undiscovered, gray means discovered but not finished processing, black means finished processing. Pi B means the predecessor pointer, that means where the pointer is staying at this moment. DB means the discovery time or the hops from the start. So BFS algorithm, as you can see here, BFS has G and S as its parameter. G means graph, S means the source, and G has vertex and edges. So let's start with initialization. We color it, color S equal to gray, because the source we start with the gray color because we want to find the adjacent nodes to it. Then we have pi s equal to null and ds equal to 0 because source doesn't have any distance or hop. We start with 0 level, and we have q equal to empty. So we in q s to our q. So while our q is not empty, we dequeue the first element, and for that element we look for adjacent vertices. So if the adjacent vertex, which is the color of the vertex, color V equal to white, then we color it gray and we add a value to it. So we add we get the value of du, the previous level value, and add 1 to it. We then move on to pi p equal to u, and also in q our q with v, and at the end we just color our u to black because we have done visiting our element which was u. So as you can see this image or the figure, we have s equal to 0 and our q has s. Then we have moved to w and r. So at first it was white, we'll color them gray. And we also color S to black because we have done visiting S. Then we would color R and W as black and label their value. Then from R we visit to B and color it gray and place the value 2 to it. But from this B we cannot go anywhere, so we will also color it black. Then at the same time we also move to T and X and label them 2, and we have to traverse from T and X. From T and X, we can go to U and Y and label them with the value 3. And as we have finished traversing T and X, we have colored them black. We will not be going from T to X because it was having a gray color. That means this node was already visited. Similarly, from X to T we cannot visit because T was colored gray. That means this vertex was already visited. Now we can only go to U and Y and we can color T and X black. So at the end we have our graph where we have these elements and we have value and we have the most value of 3. That means Y have value of 3. So we can reach from our source to our destination with 3 hop. And we also do not have this path and this path for our graph. So let's complete our BFS pseudocode. What happens if there is one vertex that is not connected or two disjoint graph in one? So to solve this issue, we need to check if there is any vertex left. If there is, we recursively call BFS again from that disjoint vertex. So the final algorithm or pseudocode look like this, where we can recursively call BFS to ensure our traverse. We traverse even to the component that is not connected. And BFS GV is the function or the pseudocode which we already discussed above. So this is our complete pseudocode for our BFS, where we start with BFS graph and we look for all vertices, and whenever we find a white vertex, we call our BFS function, which looks for its adjacent vertex and do the algorithm we have learned about. Now let's talk about the time complexity of BFS. As you can see on the pseudocode, there is one for loop, so the complexity will be around big O of n. Again, this linear complexity depends on the number of edges and the vertices we have. The more E and V we have, the more time will be needed to execute. We are adding new edges connected to vertices each time we get one. So this n is proportional to V plus E, hence our time complexity is time equal to big O V plus E. So where we can apply BFS? There are multiple places we can apply BFS. Let's talk about some of them. First is peer-to-peer network. In peer-to-peer network like BitTorrent, breadth-first search is used to find all neighbor nodes. Number 2, crawler in search engines. Crawler build index using breadth-first search. The idea is to start from source page and follow all the links from source to keep doing same. Number 3 is GPS navigation system. Breadth-first search is used to find all the neighboring locations. Number 4 is social networking website. In social network, we can find people with given distance k from a person using breadth-first search till k levels. On Facebook, you may see that you have suggestions of people you may know. This kind of task can be done with BFS. We know the world is small. Do you know we can connect all people in the world by 6 level or less? By level we means only 6 hop of BFS. It is called 6 degrees of separation. 6 degrees of separation is the idea that all people are 6 or fewer social connection away from each other. Then we can talk about number 5, broadcasting in network. In network, a broadcasted packet follows the breadth-first search to reach all the nodes. Number 6, garbage collection. Breadth-first search is used in copying garbage collection using Cheney's algorithm. Number 7 is cycle detection in undirected graph. You might encounter this question in the exam, so have attention to it. Cycle detection can be done using BFS and the graph need to be undirected. Number 8, others. There are many other real-life problems that can be approached using BFS. So we have reached our end of discussion. Thank you for your time. If you have any question, use Box Discussion Forum or Google Classroom for clarification. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.